Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Today, we're checking out a new DAW control surface from SSL. Let's get started. Today, we're looking at the UF8, a new DAW control surface from SSL. The UF8 communicates with your computer using fast MIDI over USB. It supports up to 3 DAWs at once. We have a ton of control over different things inside your DAW, and we're going to take a tour and check all that out now. This is the SSL UF8. It's a very clean control surface. Features 8 motorized faders. We've got rotary controls here that when you're on channel view, default to pan. We've got solo, mute, select buttons. We have soft keys at the top. We have assignable soft keys here, as we'll see. And we'll go through some of these keys as we're looking at the control surface. Now, part of the control surface is that it comes with the SSL 360 app, which allows you to set things up. Now, there are 3 layers available, so we can have 3 different DAWs connected. I've got it assigned to Pro Tools here, but we could assign to Logic, Cubase, Ableton, or Studio One, and we can switch among those layers very easily to choose whichever one that we're working with. Now, at the top right of the UF8, we have 5 user assignable soft keys. There's one that defaults to the VPOT, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But these 5 can be assigned here. So we've got 5 different switches. We've got 5 different assignments. Now those soft keys determine what happens with these 8 keys at the top of the UF8. So for example, when I'm on user bank 1, we've got our transport controls. So rewind, fast forward, stop, and you can see those arrayed across the top of each of the little display screens for each channel strip. If we move to the second layer, we've got those assigned to quick punch and so on. The third layer is assigned to modifier keys from the computer. So we've got control, option, command, and shift, as well as some automation controls and some function keys. The fourth layer is assigned to Pro Tools editing commands. And the fifth layer is currently unassigned, so we can assign that to whatever we want. To assign those, we simply click, we can choose a DAW command and scroll through all the available options. So lots of things we can do here. Let's go back to user bank 1. We'll go back to user bank 1 here as well. If we scroll down, we can see 3 quick key assignments. Now those quick keys are these 3 buttons here at the upper left of the UF8. And those open and close windows within your DAW. So for example, the first quick key is assigned to change between the edit window and the mix window in Pro Tools. The second quick key opens and closes the transport window. And the third, in this case, is assigned to open and close the session setup. And we can assign those as well. So we have a lot of different options for what can happen with those quick keys. On the back of the UF8, we have 2 foot switch jacks. And you can assign those, of course, as well. We've got it assigned right now to play and stop within the DAW, and we can also engage recording. We could punch in, punch out. We could assign that foot switch to just about anything that we want. Finally, we have a couple of preference settings here. Which of the layers is the transport master? You can also set whether the VPOTs, which are these pan controls in this case, are using fine resolution or not. You can also set it up so that sends within your DAW are always using fine resolution, and so on. Now we switched over to Pro Tools. Let's take a quick tour of what we can do here with the UF8. As I mentioned in the center, we have our 8 motorized faders. We've also got rotary controls here, which the UF8 refers to as VPOTs. And those are assignable to different functions or for entering data, that kind of thing. At the top, we have our 8 soft switches. So if we go to soft key layer 1, we can hit play. Pro Tools starts playing. We hit stop. We can rewind, fast forward, engage recording, and so on. If we go back to VPOT, the rotary controls default to panning on our selected track. In this case, I've got the guitar track selected. And so I'm panning on that. If we go to verb, we can pan that, harmony 1, harmony 2, and so on. And we can select the tracks by moving among them. We can solo tracks. We can mute tracks. We can clear the solo and so on. We'll clear the mute. So those basic controls are all right under your fingertips right here on the front of the UF8. We have 3 different selection modes. In normal mode, we're selecting the track, and that basically focuses the UF8 on that particular track. So for example, now if I hit plug-in, I can open up the first plug-in on that track, and so on by selecting it. We can also go to record mode. In that case, when we hit the select button, we're arming the track for recording, and you can see the red light comes on here as well. If we go to auto mode, let's take that out of record. We go to auto mode. Now we can select a track, and now we can change the automation mode for that particular track. You can see we're going from auto read to auto write, latch, touch, and back to read, or we can turn automation off. Now the selection mode switches also perform multiple functions for us. So if we have a bunch of tracks muted here, for example, if we hold down the normal mode, it becomes a clear switch, and when we hit that, all those will be cleared at once. We can also record arm multiple tracks by hitting the all button. We can also zero a track by holding down the last button. So let's turn this down, and I will hold this, select, and it jumps right to 0. The channel control allows us to scroll through channels in our mixer. But we can also, when we're on the edit screen, use this control to navigate. So we can move across our session. We can select a region. If we hit nudge, whatever selected audio region we have selected will now move by the nudge amount that's set in Pro Tools. Very easy to control. And we can also change our focus as well. Now, if we turn that off, we go back to this rotary control, just selecting channels. If we go back to our mixer, the banks allow us to jump among tracks in our session. It's very easily navigated there. And once again, if we go back to the edit, on the lower right, we have up, down, and left, right arrows. If we engage the center button so it illuminates, now we can zoom in vertically. We can also zoom horizontally. If we have an edit selection, which I have here in my kick drum track, if we turn off the button, now we can move that to different tracks. Moving to the upper right of the UF8, we have our layers for switching among 3 different DAWs. Again, we have our quick keys here for opening and closing windows. Below this, we have the send plugin area. With this, we can select individual sends or plugins, open them up, close them, and then use the controls on the UF8 to adjust the parameters. So if we're in send mode and we open up the first send, now when we turn the rotary control, we're adjusting the level. We can also make it pre or post. And if we press the VPOT button again, we can mute that send. Now we can flip this down, and at this point, the fader now controls the level for the send, and the rotary control affects the pan. Very handy. If we go back to our plugin send area, we change to plugin mode, hit the first plugin, which is in the top slot in Pro Tools. It opens up our 11 Lite plugin, and now we have those parameters available to us here in the screen with the rotary control and with the switches, so we can bypass. For example, we can page over to see the master volume level, for example, or the gain control. We could page again to see mid-range control. So we have easy access to all the parameters and switches using the first 4 slots here with these windows, the rotary controls, and the first 4 switches. We could jump and open up the third plugin, which in this case is a compressor. So we have knee control, we have the ratio control, we can page over and set the gain, set the threshold, the attack time, and so on. And we can close that window when we're finished, turn off plugin mode. We already talked about the automation commands down here. So as you can see, the UF8 is very easy to get around on and allows you easy access to plugins, to sends, to channel controls, as well as transport controls and all the other functions that we can array across these top 8 buttons. We can navigate and maneuver in the edit window and in the mixer using the controls down here and select our different modes here. Opening and closing windows up here, choosing different DAW layers. It's very simple to operate, it's very fast, and allows you to really get hands-on with your mixes. Thanks for joining me today for this look at the SSL UF8. It's a versatile, powerful control surface for just about any DAW, really lets you get hands-on control over your mixes. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, or start at sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs.